to kidney damage and failure. See the story at drugsafetynews.com.
Bernie Sanders pulled a surprise upset in the Indiana primary on Tuesday after polls showed him down 6 points to Hillary Clinton the day of the election. And he turns around and wins that primary by 5 points. That is an 11-point discrepancy between the polls going into the election and the election results. 11%. And here is the great irony that Hillary Clinton supporters don't seem to understand. It only took minutes after Ted Cruz dropped out and Donald Trump won Indiana and became the presumptive nominee for Hillary Clinton's supporters and her surrogates and the media personalities that are all in for Hillary Clinton to come out and say, look, we've got the general election on lock. Hillary Clinton is going to defeat Donald Trump. Look at the polls. And most of them pointed to a specific CNN poll that had Hillary Clinton in a general election matchup against Trump at 47% and Donald Trump at 40%. And they said, look, she wins by 7 points off the bat. Well, here's what they didn't take into account. 9% of people in that poll were undecided. So if that 9% goes to Donald Trump, guess what? 49 is greater than 47, idiots. He wins. Not only that, but all the numbers put out by that poll don't even add up to 100%. Where's the remaining 4%? Nothing makes sense. But Hillary Clinton supporters completely ignored the fact that there was an 11-point shift from Tuesday morning until Tuesday evening when those results came in. And suddenly they're relying on a poll showing her up against Donald Trump by 7% when she just lost a state that she should have won by 6%. Pay attention, Democrats, because you're going to lose the general election in November if you keep thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. 2 weeks ago, I had the privilege to sit down with Tom Hartman at a dinner, and we were talking about the fact that the Democrats don't seem to understand. They seem to be taking Trump a little too lightly. They think it's going to be a walk in the park and that he's just too extreme to be elected president. He's a personality, not a politician. And Tom Hartman pointed out something very brilliant that a lot of Democrats have forgotten. And to be honest, it happened before I was even born, so I didn't really know about it. But Tom said, look, in the 1980 election, nobody thought on the Democratic side that Ronald Reagan had a chance. Here we have this washed up actor from Hollywood yesteryear who decides he's going to run for president. No, this is a joke. Nobody took him seriously. He said crazy and outlandish things. So the Democrats thought, well, you know what? We don't have to worry too much. This is our election. Carter's going to get it. 8 years later, when Ronald Reagan left office, the Democratic Party still didn't get it. And we ended up with George H.W. Bush. The only reason Bill Clinton was able to win in 1992 was because Ross Perot siphoned off 20 to 30% of the Republican vote from George H.W. Bush. Had Perot not entered that race, Bill Clinton never would have been president, and we wouldn't be having the Hillary Clinton discussion that we're having today. All because Democrats don't learn. Bill Clinton was helped by a third-party Republican splitting the Republican vote. Hillary Clinton will not have that same advantage. We wrote off a Hollywood has-been crazy loser in 1980, and we're doing the same thing in 2016, folks. We think that Donald Trump is just this crazy candidate that nobody's going to vote for because he's hugely unpopular. Well, if we're going to talk numbers, let's look at Hillary's numbers. She is the second least popular person to ever run for president. The only person more unpopular than her is her Republican opponent, Donald Trump. Voting turnout is going to hit an all-time low this year. And that's going to be helped, in fact, from the assault on voting rights coming from the Republican Party that the Democrats are doing absolutely nothing about. Furthermore, another one of the predictions says that if Hillary Clinton can just win the state of Florida, which should be easy for her according to these, brilliant liberal analysts. If she can just win the state of Florida and then win the traditionally blue states, she gets the nomination hands down. And they're saying, hey, things are looking pretty good for Hillary Clinton in Florida. Now, let me ask them something. When was the last time you went to Florida? Because I'm here every day. I've lived here my entire life. And just a little bit of anecdotal evidence. Do you know how many Hillary Clinton bumper stickers I have seen in the state of Florida? Literally one. One. There are Trump stickers everywhere you turn. And to be honest, still quite a few Dr. Ben Carson stickers. Several Bernies, a few Cruz. I have seen one Hillary Clinton bumper sticker. And sure, that means nothing as far as the election goes. But let me point this out. If you think that Hillary Clinton is going to easily defeat Donald Trump in the state of Florida, then you haven't been paying attention to the state of Florida. This is a state that not once, but twice elected a man, Governor Rick Scott, to the highest office in the state after his company was found guilty of pulling off the largest Medicaid fraud in the history of the United States. Billions of dollars. Governor Scott, as the president of that corporation, had to plead the Fifth Amendment more than 73 times during depositions in order to not implicate himself in any of those crimes. And we elected him twice. So if you think that a bigot like Donald Trump doesn't stand a chance in the state of Florida, keep in mind that our governor should be in prison for Medicaid fraud. But hey, that doesn't matter, right? You're brilliant paid analysts. You don't have to pay attention to Florida. You don't actually have to go to Florida to understand what happens here, right? You're going to sit back in Washington, D.C. and tell me what's happening in my own state. No offense, but I think I know what's happening in Florida a little bit better than you guys. And Hillary Clinton does not stand a chance here. I don't care what the polls say. I have talked to people. I see what's happening, and I see what has happened. Because it's not just the fact that we elect criminals in our state. It's the fact that if there is any sign that Trump is not going to win the state of Florida, his good friend, Governor Rick Scott, is going to purge as many people from the voting rolls down here as he possibly can. Don't think that'll happen? Well, think back to what Jeb Bush did for George W. in the year 2000, and then again in the year 2004. It happens all the time in Florida. And it's going to happen again because we have a criminal Republican governor who is good friends with Donald Trump and who could very well end up on the ticket as a vice presidential nominee. That's terrifying. And furthermore, with this Hillary's walk in the park, what happens to all of those Senate and House Republicans? They may not be a fan of Donald Trump, but they do know they have to pull Republican voters to the polls to get themselves reelected. And while they're there, they're not just going to skip over that part where it says vote for president. They're going to fill in that little line, fill in the bubble, punch the card right next to Donald Trump before going on to vote for Paul Ryan or whoever it may be. They're going to vote Republican. And that is what the party is counting on. They can suffer through 4 or 8 years of Donald Trump as president as long as they maintain control of the House and Senate. Because then the corporations know that they're still going to get every single thing they want. And then think of the fact that we have prominent Republicans out there right now saying, you know what, I think I'll probably vote for Hillary over Donald Trump. That's not true. That's not going to happen. These are people who spent the last 25 years of their lives demonizing the entire Clinton family. You think suddenly they're going to vote for Hillary over Donald Trump? No. If you honestly believe that, then you are delusional and probably should find another job and not work in politics. And then here's the thing. If they do decide that they're going to vote for Hillary, shouldn't that scare the Democrats? Why are they comfortable voting for this woman who they've said that they hate? They're not. Corporations are. And that's what's important. This year, if Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee, is going to be a hell of a fight. It is not going to be a cakewalk for Hillary Clinton. She is not guaranteed to win. And I guarantee you at some points we're going to see Donald Trump ahead of her in the polls. Because that's what happens every time. There was a time when Mitt Romney pulled ahead of Barack Obama. Same thing with John McCain. Polls change every week. And as we've seen from the primary season, we can't even rely on the polls that are currently out there. So Democratic Party, beware. Do not think that this is going to be an easy election. Do not think you can just skate through this and go ahead and coronate Hillary Clinton. Because you can't. You have to work. You have to fight back. And you're fighting against a bully who doesn't know any boundaries and who doesn't bother with facts and the truth. And his followers don't seem to care about the facts and the truth.